What can we learn about the importance of language, our word choices, and data and reporting by looking at the Weather Channel's severe storm risk scale? A lot. I think this scale is such a great example of how important our word choices are. Here's what I mean. So we have 5 points on this scale: marginal, possible, likely, very likely, and extreme. Now, for the most part, I think these are okay. I especially like possible, likely, very likely. That's super clear to me. It's like clearly like moving up a level each time. Like, oh, that's possible. No, likely, very likely. Like, love how that works. Marginal is what I would consider kind of like a more complicated, confusing term. Like, what's the difference between marginal and possible? Like, obviously the intention here, because it's a 1 instead of a 2, is that it's less likely than possible. I would opt for a different word there that makes it more clear that that's like least likely. Similarly, extreme, again, just feels kind of like jarring when I get to it. Like, oh, it's possible. Oh, it's likely. Oh, it's very likely. And then you get to, oh, it's extreme. That doesn't make sense in a sentence. That's like a great way to understand if your scales make sense, is to like read them aloud as if it were a sentence. It's just kind of like an odd word that doesn't quite fit in there. I know that it's a 5, that means the top of the scale, but extreme, probably not the best word choice. Here's, however, the most glaring problem with language. So we have a scale point that's possible, but then the word possible is also used to define 2 additional scale points. That to me is confusing. You're overusing the word possible. If you're going to name one of your terms possible, please only have the word possible in the definition for that scale item. Possible isn't the only confusion here. There's also likely. You have the scale point likely, which doesn't include likely in the definition. It includes possible, which is a different scale point. And then you have likely showing up under very likely and highly likely showing up under extreme. You could like maybe get on board because it says highly likely. But again, if it's the name of a scale point, don't use it in defining other points on the scale. A final confusion is that within these scales about whether it's likely or not for there to be storms, it also talks about how many storms. So you have isolated, scattered, numerous, or widespread. And widespread shows up twice. This is confusing. Y'all, here's the headline. I don't have a quick fix makeover. I am confounded by the fact that we're talking about likelihood and possibility on the same scale as like geographic spread of a storm. And I don't know how to combine the two. Would love to chat.